Well, once again, thank you for joining us for Ask Chuck webcast. Next week, I will be in Iowa holding town meetings. We will not be in session because the week of the President's holiday, we can plan on having meetings in our state. So I have scheduled town meetings and county visits in 10 different counties next week. And I hope if you're in eastern Iowa, you'll have a chance to interact with me. As usual, we invite your questions on Facebook, email, or Twitter to participate in this Ask Chuck webcast. And if you have sent in questions and I don't get time to answer them this way, then you will receive answer in writing. So let's go to the first question that has come on my BlackBerry. It's from Facebook. Colleen from Keota asked, quote, "What if any, efforts are being made to lower gas prices?" Well, quite the opposite. I think there's been some action taken that raised gas prices. For instance, when we drill less here and we import oil from OPEC, the price is set. The market doesn't work because OPEC is like a monopoly. And so if we want to keep prices down, we have to produce more here domestically. And I'm an advocate for drill here and drill now. But quite frankly, since the oil spill, things have been slowed up in the Gulf of Mexico, even though the President says that they're going to give permits to drill there soon. But I don't know whether soon is a year or two or how long it is. Just before the oil spill, they said we could drill off the east coast of the United States. They pulled that back now. President Bush gave permission to drill off Alaska, and this administration's pulled back on that opportunity. And then, public lands in the West, for instance, in the state of Utah, about 65 to 70% of the state is controlled by the federal government. There's a lot of resources there, but now the Secretary of the Interior is taking steps to maybe withdraw that area from drilling. Now, we aren't talking about drilling in national parks or anything like that. We're talking about drilling on federal land where there is oil. So I see a lot of action on the part of this administration to keep oil artificially high by importing more. And then I also often quote the Secretary of Energy that this President appointed, who has said that we ought to have oil the price of what it is, I should say gasoline and fuel for our cars, the price of what it is in Europe, which would be about the equivalent of $5 a gallon here. So it seems to me that there's a culture within this administration to keep energy high. Now, I would counteract that by, number one, drilling here and now. Number two, having nuclear energy. Number three, all forms of alternative energy, which would include not only biofuels, but wind, solar, etc. And four, I would have conservation. Conservation that's public policy, conservation that would be personally adhered to. The second question comes from Eric Anawa. He tweets, "What about using cattails of switchgrass for ethanol?" Well, I don't know about cattails because I'm not sure how you harvest them when they're in water. But for sure, switchgrass is a very viable alternative for making ethanol. It's a second generation of ethanol. Ethanol from grain, primarily corn, is the first generation. We are going to start manufacturing ethanol from corn stover to start out with, but there's no doubt that switchgrass would be a good source of what we call cellulosic ethanol. I thank Eric and Colleen for your questions. Today and the rest of this week in the Senate, we're going to be talking about two things. One, the extension of the Patriot Act, which sunsets on February the 28th. We must reenact it so the CIA and the FBI has the legal tools and capability of tracking terrorists who want to kill Americans. And the other bill will be the Federal Aviation Administration, or as we call it, the FAA Reauthorization Bill, which is a bill for airports. Those are the two issues that are going to be on the Senate floor this week. Thank you, and as I said, we're in recess next week. I'll be in Iowa, 10 town meetings in eastern Iowa, and I invite people to come. And also, I invite you to be with me a week after next when we'll have our next Ask Chuck webcast. Thank you very much.